Hello again, and welcome to this next tutorial on using ScreenFlow. So I'd like to go ahead and talk about using text, and especially as we're kind of working with this whole idea of creating an intro for a review video here. So let's go ahead and we'll listen first as I start to give the intro. Okay, so it's an intro for the best Bluetooth speakers. And let's say as I'm announcing the name of the speakers, I'd like some text to appear up here in the top. So how we do that is we go over here to the right, and I'll go over these in more detail later, but these are for things to do with video. This is for things to do with audio. And then the T will be text. So what we want to do is add a text box. So we'll go ahead and click on that. And just a note, when we push add text box, wherever this marker is on the timeline is where the text box will get added. And so then this shows up by default. You can see it's highlighted in yellow. That means anything we're doing now within ScreenFlow will affect this text box. Again, if we click down here, then anything we do will affect this area highlighted in yellow. But again, we want to focus on text right now. So you can move this and just simply clicking and dragging like that. Now you can also turn it, and you notice this little dot right here in the middle. If you click on that, you can also rotate it should you want to do that. Now this is kind of the default setting, and so we see over here there's a couple things to point out. The size, the font size is 96. We can change that to something smaller. The font, again, you have lots of different fonts to choose from, so you can find something else if you like. And then we have the fill color. So this is the color of the text itself. And if you click on that, then your other options pop up here. So if you wanted to do, red, that's what that would look like. You can also do an outline. Right now the outline is in black, but maybe you want the outline in white. And again, you can kind of toggle that on and off if you like to see how that looks. You can also change how thick the outline is by using this slider here. And then the backdrop is the area behind the text. Right now you can see it's this kind of shade here, and let's say you just want it to be white. So just for it to go away, blend in with the background there. Now maybe you want to go back to your outline, and maybe you want that to stand out a little bit more. So you click on black, something like that. Oh, sorry, I don't know if you caught that. I just clicked outside of the text area here so I could see what it looks like. But you can click back on it to re-engage. Any edits you make now will affect the text box. Or you can click down here on your text box, and that same thing will highlight it. And that's helpful. Sometimes you get a lot of things going on your work area here, and you can just go click on one of these, and it will highlight that specific part that you want to work on. So let's see here. We talked about color, sizing. Now, one thing I've noticed for fine edits, or I've worked with like Illustrator or other programs where they give you more greater ability to where you want to position the text. So like I just hit return, and you can see there's this space, decent amount of space between the two lines. And if you want to close that gap, what you can do is, and I'm just going to highlight this as an example. I'm going to hit Apple X, to cut it. And then I'm going to go back. Oops, I'm going to click off of that. Add another text box. There we go. But instead of this, maybe I want to paste what I just copied. Another example, another thing you can do is you can click on this. Let me get rid of that extra space we had. Okay, we can Apple C copy this, paste it, and it just put another one up here, but it puts it right on top of the original one. And so you have to actually move it. Oh, there we go. Move it down like that. So it's there, but you just have to move it so you can see it. So let's say you want to work with this one, and this other one, maybe you just want to delete it now, so you can click on it, delete it. Now you have these two. And what we can do is double click on that. well, let's actually use, for an example, what I'm actually using for the Bluetooth review. So we'll do Bluetooth, oops, then I'm double clicking, that's highlighting everything. Or once you're clicked in, you can do Apple A to highlight everything. Do Bluetooth review. Then I'll click off of it so we can see it. Now I do want to go ahead, I'm going to get rid of the backdrop altogether now. And you can see what that did is now I can see what's behind the text area here. Versus when it's white, it kind of blocks out that layer below it. Something else though, just FYI, is you can think of these as layers, and the top layer is on top, the bottom layer is on bottom. You can move these around. So I just moved the review layer below the Bluetooth layer. So now this is on top, as you can see. Same thing, we can get rid of the backdrop, and now we can see what's below it. But yeah, now you can see you get more of this fine movement. You want it really close, something like that. You can do that. You can play around now with, you can adjust the font separately. So this is a little bit bigger. Now, if you want to do different fonts than or font size than what's available here, click on Font Panel. You can bring this over here, and you can go over here and maybe type in 100. And maybe you want that to line up a little bit more with this one. So that way you get those micro movements, so to speak, in the font size if you'd like. Then let's say you want to move both of these over to the left more. You can just drag them one at a time like that, or you can go over here, highlight both of them, and now you can move them around as one piece like that. So it gives you a couple different things. And of course, if you click on one of them, you can bold it, you can italicize, you can also center it, right align it, left align it. It's not going to be as noticeable because that's text box wasn't very big, but there we go. Right align, center, left align, and you can move that forward or backward if you like as well. And that's the major things I think with text. Now I will show you one other thing that I like to do, and that's do what's called a fading in and out. So doing these transitions. So I'll save that for the next video. But anyway, yeah, I'll go ahead and wrap up with that for text, and I'll see you in the next training.